abuse another person without the person's consent. Sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, verbal, physical conduct of a sexual nature. Rape is forced sexual intercourse, including both psychological coercion as well as physical force.
There are different types of rapists. The first rapist is an anger rapist. These people display anger in overt ways. They use a knife, force, anger, and they want to feel powerful. They try to humiliate and debase their victims and use physical violence and profane language. The second type is a power rapist. They demonstrate power by exploiting their victims. They rely upon verbal threats, weapons, and uses force to subdue the victim. The third type is a sadistic rapist. They are motivated to assault in order to live out their sexual and aggressive fantasies.
It's important to know how to get out of a situation that can cause you to be raped. We all know the standard, don't leave your drink unattended, stuff like that. But what happens if you're in an actual situation where you're being attacked and could possibly be raped? Okay, so the first one that I'm going to show you is if someone has you in a straight wrist grab like so. So if their left hand is grabbing your right hand and stuff like that. So what you're going to do first is you're going to step forward. You're going to go toward the thumb because that is the weakest point of the grab. And then you're going to bend an elbow and then back away. And then next is a cross grab. This one, you're going to bring your heart up, or hand up, and then twist and grab their wrist, and then pull, and now you have them in an arm bar. And then you can push them and back away, or kick them, or whatever. The next one is if they're grabbing you from behind again, but your arms are free, you're going to drop to get yourself a better center of gravity, push up, and then away. The next one is if they're grabbing both of your wrists and trying to take you, you're going to push out and then use their momentum back in and grab this wrist, and then pull and push. Okay, so the next one is if they're trying to take you and walk off with you and they're grabbing your wrist like this, you're going to swing and then use momentum to break through their arm toward the thumb. Okay, so the next one is if they're gonna grab you from behind and your arms are restrained, you're going to step forward to get them off balance, lift your arms up, turn, and then hammer them in the stomach, groin, whatever, and then step back and away. Alright, so the next one is if they're grabbing your shoulder and trying to take you. So you're going to reach around with your hand, grab their pinky and secure a grip on their hand, and then you're going to take your other hand and twist. So now their arm's twisted, and you can push on their third knuckle on their finger and push back, and it'll take them down. Okay, so the next one is if they're grabbing your wrist with both of their hands and you have this arm free, you're going to step forward, you're going to reach your hand around and cup where your pinky is on your other hand. You're going to pull up toward their thumb and then possibly elbow them in the face or whatever you need, and then back away. So the next one is if they're grabbing your shoulder from behind, you're going to step across, lift this arm up, and grab their arm beneath your arm, and then you're going to push your arm and twist, and then you can step and take down.
So there are many different ways that a person can react to being raped. The first one is called rape trauma syndrome, and it is a type of PTSD, but it's specific to sexual assault. And then PTSD is another one of those reactions that could occur, which is a mental health condition that it's triggered by a traumatizing event or a terrifying event. The event can either be experienced or witnessed, and then symptoms can include flashbacks, nightmares, anxiety, uncontrollable thoughts about the event. So there are two different phases to these reactions to rape. The first one is the acute phase, and it is the emotional reaction immediately after the event, and that can last up to several weeks after. And then the second phase is long-term reorganization, or the recovery phase. During this time, you go through emotional changes. The reactions can linger on for years. Different people have different trauma effects, and they can have different symptoms that come with that. But basically, everyone is different, and during this phase, and they all have different reactions to the trauma. So, according to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, an estimated 63% of sexual assaults go unreported. This is far too many to be going unreported. People who have experienced sexual assault deserve justice, and it should be reported. Some reasons why people may choose to not report it are fear of retaliation. This happens when the assault happened by someone that the victim knew. They might fear that the person might harm them, or there might be abuse or violence towards them. It is estimated that 62% of military service members experienced retaliation after reporting to authority. So another reason is shame. That's just embarrassment, guilt, the feeling of dehumanization. The next reason a person may choose to not report sexual assault is that it was reported but nothing was done, so they may fear to try to report it again. So then another one is people could be coerced into believing that it was insignificant, or that there's no proof to be able to prove that it happened. An NPR study shows that 20% of college sexual assault survivors reported to police, but 12% felt it was not significant enough to report. So yeah, this is just kind of them feeling that there's lack of evidence, or that no one's going to believe them. There's another reason is that belief that police cannot or will not do anything. There's kind of a stigma around that police won't believe them, or that things won't be done. But most of the time, that is not the case. Another reason is that they don't want the offender to get into legal trouble. This can usually happen with an intimate partner or like a family member. They still feel loyalty to that person, so they feel that they don't want to get that person into any sort of trouble. This is 7% of survivors, according to statistics. Another one is that they don't want friends or family to know that it happened, due to embarrassment or fear of maybe getting in trouble if they were if it was a teenager doing something they might not supposed to be doing. Another one is fear of the justice system. Many people fear that the justice system won't believe them, or that they might end up getting in trouble for something, or that they just won't be believed in the justice system, and that it might just be more work and more traumatizing to go through that. And finally, the last one is that too much time has passed. They might feel that because they waited so long, maybe because they had to process that information, that too much time has passed, and then there's no evidence. While that does make it more hard, it's definitely still better to report it than to just ignore it. So the first step in reporting this, or getting to be able to talk about it, is the National Sexual Assault Hotline, and that number is 1-800-656-4673.
Let's talk about partner violence. There are 4 types of partner violence usually talked about: physical violence, sexual violence, stalking, and psychological aggression. Physical violence is when you try to intentionally hurt your partner. Sexual violence is forcing your partner to partake in any sexual activity without consent. Stalking is a pattern of repeated unwanted attention and contact by a partner that causes fear. Psychological aggression is the use of verbal and nonverbal communication with the intent to harm.
There are many people you can talk to if you need to leave an abusive relationship. You can talk to a doctor or nurse, a teacher, counselor, principal at your child's school that can get you help, human resources, or family or friends. then there's also a free 1-800 telephone hotline. Best thing to do to keep yourself safe is identify a safety plan. It can help you be prepared in when you do need to leave and get out of that situation. You can identify a safe friend or safe place to go. You can make a list of things to take if you have to leave quickly. Contact local family court, contact the police, and be sure to take any evidence that you have if you do leave your partner. Even if you don't have a safe place to go, like a family or friend, there are also domestic violence shelters or women's shelters that you can go to, and they are always there to help if you do need that help.